Hello everyone, my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diary. So today I'll make another video on the same series of Solidity programming series, and in this I'll try to cover the concept which we're calling as a calling parent function using the super keyword. Okay, so what exactly is this and how it is different from a direct calling? So there are two things which we are trying to cover in this. There's a direct calling and there is a super keyword using calling itself. So there are two things which we are using it, and the structure you are a bit aware about it, as we have seen override, virtual, these things we have already seen in our previous video itself of multiple inheritance itself. So I'm just using extension video of it where I'm just trying to use there's a base contract, then we're using a derived contract, then again there is another contract. So there are three contract or four contract I'm using it over there itself, and I'll just explain you from the base contract to the derived contract how the next base contract become a base contract for the another derived contract. Everything I'll try to cover in this video itself. So we'll just start with the super keyword and why we require the super keyword. If we have a direct calling over there itself, why we require the super keyword. So in Solidity, if you have a contract that inherit from another contract, you can call functions from the parent contract using a super keyword itself. So even through the direct calling also you can do that, and even through the super keyword you can use it over there itself. Now this allow you to execute the logic defined in the parent contract function within the context of the child contract. So whatever the logic you are defining over there itself in the parent contract, it's same get it executed accordingly itself. So whatever the thing you are trying to get it inherited, whatever the concept logic you are defining over there itself in the parent one, it's get cloned over there itself in that derived one. Okay, as we are calling that function itself which is present in the base contract, that is totally be dependent on the concept which we have defined over there itself in a base contract. Now by using a super keyword itself, you ensure that both the parent and the child contract logic is executed when you call the child function. When you're calling the child function, make sure that both the child and the parent contract logic should be get it executed when you're calling the child function. So when we are calling a child function, then the parent function will get it executed as it's get it inherited from that base contract. So it's having so many concepts: a base contract, derived contract, other than that multi inheritance which we are using it earlier also. In case of constructor we are using it. The virtual override, these concepts, everything is a combination over here itself, and we'll just make a final conclusion for it. So a lot of things I'll try to get it covered in this, but it's a straightforward thing. If you're able to understand the previous concepts of multi inheritance, events, everything, then in that case it's a bit easy for you just to see that video. You can able to analyze it, how exactly the things will go on and how exactly the things will be get it executed. And one more thing before proceeding further with the technical section, which we call it as pure code section for it. So I will tell you, like in case of super, like in case of direct calling, whatever that mapping we are defining it just get it executed accordingly. But in case of super keyword itself, it's get executed from right to the left itself. So whatever that base contract you are defining it over there itself, accordingly whatever that parent contract with is coming first, and you are finding that function which your function or whatever the things which you have defined as a logic over there. So if it's get identified in that parent contract or parent function itself instead of that contract itself, then in that case it get terminated automatically. So give it example once again. Take example, you're searching, you're having so many rooms over there itself. So direct calling is, I will tell you, like just go to room number 1, you can get the object. But in case if I'll have 10 rooms in front of me, and I'll just tell you using a super keyword, I will tell you, okay, just get it identify this content. I take example a chocolate, just get it identify that just to get it for me from these 10 rooms. So how exactly super will work? Super will go from the right to the left. So it will start from the right, the first room, second room, third room, fourth room. So it's just going from the left itself, and wheresoever whatever the room is it having that product first, then it will take that product which is getting match and coming back. So that was the concept behind the super and the direct calling itself. I hope you understand now with the theory part. Now we'll see the same thing in the practical section, how exactly the things will going on, and then you can able to analyze it, how it is different from the direct calling, and using the super keyword, what are the benefits is over there itself. Now we go to this code directly itself, seeing that code just to get it compiled, see that each and every section for it, then you can able to understand the whole concept behind it. Let me go to the system now. Okay, so in the coding part itself, we are seeing it. This is the whole code which I have written. Don't worry about it, how exactly the things are going on. I'll just go one by one line itself just to make you understand about it. We have already made such type of code in case of when we are making overwriting one concept. So it's just extension of it. Over here itself, functions I'm trying to, I'm just explaining about the direct calling itself and even the super calling itself. So both the things I'll try to explain it, and I'm using a similar type of structure itself which we have used it in case of overriding one or virtual concept. Okay, so now proceeding further with that, this is the syntax which we are using in all our code itself. The contract name, we are defining 4 contract over here itself. So the first contract, it's a con A itself which we are defining it. Inside of it, as we are writing, we just want this to be get it logged inside of the blockchain itself. That was the reason we are using an event which we are already aware about it. We want what exactly things we wanted. We want the name and the age itself. Now the name is which we are giving it, and that the age itself. Okay, both the things are getting defined over there itself. These things we just try to get it logged inside of the blockchain. Now we are giving first function, we are making it as a function 1, and this we make it as a virtual itself, as we are giving a permission for the later contract itself just to get it override. That was the reason we have to make it as virtual. If we are not making this as a virtual, which we have discussed in a previous video also, then in that case no other contract having a permission as a derived contract just to get it override that thing. So that was the reason, just to give the permission from the base contract to the derived contract, we have to use a virtual keyword so that a derived contract can utilize that. Okay, now going further with that, this also a same function which we are defining it. We are giving this to be Amit itself, which we want to be get it logged inside of the blockchain. Now there is another contract which we call it as a con B itself, and we want this a con B to be a derived contract, and con A we can consider as a base contract. Over here itself, what exactly things we are using, the two contracts, two functions over here itself. The first function which we call it as a function 1 itself, it's same name, and we are using a virtual keyword. We are giving a permission to the next derived contract. So once the contract B become a base contract, and contract D, as per our need itself, contract D become a derived contract, then in that case we have to give the permission. That was the reason we are using a virtual over here itself, and override we are using it. Okay, just to get it override the previous base contract for this contract. We are using this Amit, we want this to be get it locked, and now this we are using a con A as a direct call. This we call it as a direct calling itself, by which we can call a contract A function 1 itself over here itself inside of it. So we are calling the another function, we calling a function 1 from a contract A. That was the reason we are just defining in such a way itself, and this we call it as a direct calling. Now if we're talking about the next section, this is the same thing. We are making a same function once again, function 2, making this as a public, make it as a virtual itself, as we are giving a permission to the derived contract to contract D itself, and we are overriding the base contract. That was the reason we are using override. Now we are trying to emit it, as we have to log this inside of the blockchain. That was the reason we are giving this content. Now super is the keyword which we are using it, and I have already explained you about the super keyword, why we are using it, how exactly the things are going on with the super itself, with the example of the rooms itself. So you can able to understand, like when we are defining super dot function 2, then in that case it means it will go to contract A. In this case itself, if we have multiple base contract parent function, then in that case it's a different case. But if you're talking about only a one contract, which is we can call it as a base contract, then in that case it's bit obvious. Function 2 will we get it identified over here itself for this. But if we have multiple, which we are seeing in the later phase itself, then in that case definitely a preference will be there from the right to the left. Okay, now going further with that, if we're talking about this section, it's similar like a contract B itself, just a name to keyword, so we get it, only the keyword is getting changed itself. So you can see these are the things which we are making over here itself. We are not calling any function, so that was just a simple only, we are making it a contract D, contract C only. So nothing is happening to the contract C. Similar normal one, we are giving virtual override, giving a permission to the contract D. Okay, now going further with that, and I'm talking about the next section, which is a contract D. This is most important section for it, and make sure you will understand it very well. If you're not, just see this section and repeat it once again, the same section once again, so that you can able to understand the super concept very clearly. So over here itself, what we have to do, contract D is the derived contract, and for this base contract are contract B and the contract C. Okay. Now what we have to do, we are defining two functions. The function one is function one public override, and we have already having a permission over there itself. We are overriding contract B and the contract C for the function one, and over here itself we are emitting. Okay. Now if I'm talking about the next section for it, what exactly things are happening over here. Even if I want it, I can try con B dot function 1. If I'll just mention this, so that's also working. So I'll just mention this as a direct calling, and this we call it as a super keyword calling. Okay, but clear about it. Now we go inside of this function having this is a public itself, function 2 is a name. We are already having right over there, so as it's defined it virtual, we can mention it as a con B and con C as override one. Okay, this is, I'm not giving much time as we have already discussed in our override video itself. Now we are trying to log it, that's content, we are trying to log it. Now going to the super function 2. So this is a keyword which we have discussed in the contract B also, the similar type of thing. It's just trying to search. So over here itself, as if mentioned contract B and the contract C. So if it's this call, this things will be getting triggered, then in that case it will start from the right and just search it inside of the contract C. If this function is getting identified, whatever the value over there itself, it's get triggered. So taking example, what exactly is happening, if I'll try to click on in contract D, if I'll try to click on function 2, so first thing to be get it mapped, this is the thing. And now after that, if I'll go inside of it, if I'll go inside of this, and this is calling function 2, so it will go to contract C, and it's going for the function, so C function 2 and 41 to be get it logged after that also. So these two things we can see inside of the transaction logs of the of our blockchain itself. So we can see that when we're proceeding further with it. So let me trigger that, let me compile this code, deploy that. So I'll start with con A, this is not having any meaning, contract B having some meaning for us, contract C is also not having some much meaning, but I'll just show you that everything about it, whatever the things is inside of it, I'll try to show you each and everything so that you can able to understand each and every section for it. Okay, we'll start with the contract A. So in contract A, click on function 1, we can able to see, let me make it up. So inside of it, if I'll try to see the logs, transaction logs, I can able to see con A and function 1 is get it logged. So if I'll try to call this, in this case, what exactly is happening, it's writing con A dot function, this is the this is the name and this is the age, get it logged. Okay, that's it. Now if I'm going with the next section for it, function 2, the same thing, it will log this con A dot function 2 and 21. If I want to show you that, this is the thing you can able to see. Okay, this is clear. Now I'll move to the next section, which is con B. Over here itself we are using a super also and direct calling also. Okay, so what exactly is happening, let me click on function 1. So before seeing the logs, I will tell you like what are the things we can see inside of it. Con B dot fun 1 is one of the thing, and this is the name and this is the age, we are seeing it. And other than that, if it's calling function 1, then in that case we are seeing con A function 1 21. So these two values we are seeing inside of it. Okay, let me see that. So I can able to see first thing as this one 31, and if I'll go for the next section, this one. Okay, clear. And even if I'm talking about the function 2, let me clear this, let me talk about the function 2. So in function 2 also, as it's only a one base contract, we have it over here itself, so it doesn't mean like it's works similar like a direct calling only. Okay, I can get B function 2 31, and over here itself contract contract A dot F2 and 21. Okay, I can able to see the same value. Clear? Now instead of going to the next section for it, this is done. Now I'll go to the contract C. I think contract C not having much meaning about it, so there is no point. So if you want it, I can show you that it's having the same value to be get mapped. Okay, nothing much about it. Let me close it. Now this is the most important thing, as we have two base contract and as a in a derived one. So what exactly is happening over in case of direct calling? If I'll call, let me delete this and click on function 1, then in that case what I'm just seeing over here itself, it's calling D function f1, and then after that it's going to the con b dot function 1. Okay, so this is one of the thing is writing over there itself. Now if we going inside of the con b, let me go inside of this, and over here itself I can see it's mapping con b function 131, and again this will be get a trigger and it will have the value this one also. So there are three types of values we can see inside of it. Let me see that in the log section. I can able to see by only one. Let me see that why it's happening. Sorry, it was function C, it's still open. That was the reason. Now I am in contract D itself. Let me click on function 1. Now you can see a lot of logs. Okay, so we can see D, that is as obvious, which we are seeing it function 1. Now we can see B fun 1 and 31. Okay, now we are going to the contract A also, and that is as per the calls of the direct calling itself, which we having inside of the function to the function. Okay, now this is clear, this is direct calling, and now is the final thing which we are where exactly we are using a super and how exactly things are working. So if I'm click on the function 2, the things which I feel, so in a logs I can see that D function 2 51 is 1. Then after that this will call contract C. Contract C will have this value over here itself, and this will graph C fun to 41. So I think two values we can see it over here itself. So let me see that first. Okay, so I can see two values, straightforward. Okay, if you think about it, like how exactly the formatting is it. So as we have defining a contract B and the contract C, and the super keyword is working from right to the left itself. If we are defining contract C first and contract B at the position of the contract C, then in that case contract B having a preference, and then at that time contract B will be get a trigger, and you can see that output of this. And then in that case the super calling once again trigger it for the next section for it. So we are seeing three values over there itself, as it's having the function to super function of the contract A also. Okay, so that's the stuff which is want to get it covered in this video itself. I think like so many things we are trying to get it covered in this itself, with the calling a function to the function itself to the function, but the concrete part is super keyword having right to left itself is get it triggered with the parent. The wheresoever it's the first thing is get identified, it will pop up that thing only. Okay, don't go in a multiple zones itself. It's not having any proper mapping. It's having the mapping only for the one section. Whatever the mapping is get it defined from the base contract itself. It's wheresoever the base contract having that stuff which we are looking for it will get it triggered directly. So whatever the function we are calling, if that function is get it present in that contract base contract itself, which is get approached first by the super keyword, then in that case the value present inside of that it get triggered and get it fetch out automatically. Okay, and it's having a similar type of functionality in case of one base contract if we having it, but if we have a multiple, then in that case output will be vary, as direct calling having a straightforward the stuffs to be get it mentioned, but in case of super keyword we are just going as per that wheresoever we are finding that function itself. Okay, it's bit clear. So I hope I'll just make you understand about this keyword for calling the function itself from the inheritance concept. Everything I'll try to get it covered in this video itself. There are few things which I've just covered in this, and which is which I'm using it which I've explained you in a previous video also. So you can, if you're not able to understand the virtual override these things, or event also, if you're not able to understand, just understand it first. Just see those videos which I have prepared it in this same series itself, then you can able to understand how exactly the things are going on, and then use it accordingly. So now we are concluding this series itself. I think hardly 2 two more lectures I'll try to make it for this series, and then I'll conclude this series, the whole series itself. So I think it's almost having 37 or 38 videos itself. It depends on it how many the things are still be pending in my bin itself. Then I'll conclude this, then I'll go to the next section for it, which I'm making it on a different section other than the blockchain itself. So I think once you conclude that, then you can go to that section for just to understand those things, the new different type of concept, as we are seeing the same type of thing again and again every day itself. So it's far better for you to understand different concept, whatever the things I'm learning, and I'll try to make the content for on the YouTuber so that it's easy for everyone to understand the same thing, but easy way, whatever the time I'm spending from my side to make that content for it. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much once again. Take care. Bye bye.